That's why they want to build up Wakaloa, to protect that mountain. And it's like, we got to figure something out. And so that's going to be the subject.
Cool.
Okay? So, are we ready?
Anytime you...
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm going to start with this by saying who I am. I'm Uncle Hanalei Ferguson. I come from the Big Island. And I'm here presently at U.S.A. Palace, where I do twice a year vigils to find out where we're going, exchange information, and I actually end up reporting to the Queen where we are as a people, to say whether or not how close we are to restoring our kingdom. Anyway, so today's subject matter is going to be a little bit different. It has to do with the realities of the world and the military buildup in the Pacific. Okay? And so, just to give you some real brief background, there's an enormous amount of money being spent to build the Pacific, not only here but in Guam and Okinawa. But because of the problems they're having in Guam and Okinawa, a lot of that money is being concentrated here. And one of the things they're doing on the Big Island is they are putting in a huge military base in Kehea, right on the other side of the airport. You land in Kehea, which I believe is all Hawaiian homelands, by the way. A huge military base that's almost 70% complete. And the most miraculous thing about this is that nobody knows it's happening. Okay? Nobody knows it's happening. Recently, they published that they have just built the largest commissary of the Pacific in Hilo. It's right outside the Hilo airport. It's not open yet, but a commissary is like the Walmart, or your Safeway. Yeah, it's an infrastructure type of thing. And so that indicates there's going to be thousands and thousands of armed people coming. Okay, military people coming. There's a big move now where the military is buying up whole bunches of property, military brass. Very quietly coming in and picking up foreclosures and stuff like this, because there's going to be an enormous buildup of military stuff in Hilo, and in Wakaloa, and in Kona. Actually, there's stuff coming up in Ko'u too. But anyway, this particular part of this conversation I'd like to share with you is a project called HAMMET. It's a high amplitude environmental training area. Environmental training, yeah. Or high amplitude mountainous training. Anyway, what that means is they want to fly helicopters from Wakaloa up the slopes of Mauna Kea to do a bunch of military exercises. Now, I wanted to speak on this matter because in my arguments with them, or my being able to share the information I have on Mauna Kea, I found a lot of things going on with the military that is underhanded. It's not being very visible, and they're changing directions. And I say that because we just went through 2 environmental assessments. There should have only been one, by the way. But we've been through 2 environmental assessments regarding the use of this flight path from Mauna Kea that basically goes up the side of the northwest slope of Mauna Kea, almost up to Lake Waiau. Now, they're saying that they will have to do this helicopter training for Afghanistan, and I'm not going to question what military things are about. But I can tell you that Mauna Kea is one of the most sacred spots on earth. Both Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa are sacred. They're very, very sacred. That's the birth of our islands. Anyway, even Wakaloa. I look at Wakaloa, and perhaps I'm the only one who does, but as the womb between the male and the female. And so I'm also concerned about that. But in the meantime, what I'm referring to on this HAMMET program is that they want to do helicopter training that goes from Bradshaw Air Force Base at Wakaloa and goes up the northwest slope of Mauna Kea, up to as high as Lake Waiau, almost at the summit. Now, Mauna Kea is a conservation use district. It's a conservation land. And so, to utilize conservation land, there's a whole series of things that must be done. There's applications that need to be applied for that require public hearings. There's the permitting itself that has to be, once they gather information, now they got to go for the permit and show you what information you gathered and show you how it's going to benefit you or harm you. Well, this is not what's happening. The federal government has been very, very clever in using this process known as an environmental assessment. Now, it sounds like it's a good thing, but in an environmental assessment, is very limited because they only use their information. They're not interested in anybody else's information. They put out this booklet of what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and how they decided what circumstances to deal with. The reason why they do an EA is because the public doesn't have a chance to have public hearings. They want to keep it out of the public hands. Although the EA does allow for a public comment period, a 30-day comment period. That's if you know the project has happened and if you know where to find the information for which you comment on. Of course, the Army has not even been polite enough to thank you for making your comments or let you know, or even sharing with you other comments that you may be supportive of or not supportive of. Anyway, the procedure that's outlined in their manual says that if they find circumstances that are unmitigable after making some effort, that the federal government must file an intent for an environmental impact statement, which allows for the public review and public hearings to happen. And they had to do that and file it with the Federal Register. Now, what's happening is because the federal government doesn't want to have to go through all that problems, they're trying to do some real underhanded stuff, and this is where it's very important for us to look at. In a conservation district, there's a permitting system that has to go on. And these laws for this permitting system took a long time of fighting for because people were putting up stuff all over the place that had nothing to do with the environment and wrecking it, basically. And anyway, so the process, even though it has its own feelings, it has some benefits to us. It gives us the time to be able to review what's going on and to comment and try to comment intelligently. Anyway, so in the last 2 weeks, there's been several articles that's come out in the Gila newspaper, and one of them had to do with a Lieutenant Colonel Worsinski, I believe his name is, and pardon me if I've got it incorrectly, but he's the new Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Fleet, of Pacific Command. And the title of the article was kind of stunning to me because the title came out and said that the Pauakaloa training area was vital to protecting the sacred valley of Makua. And I thought to myself, how rude. You think that one sacred site is less or greater than the other, and here you are trying to like pit our people against each other because all of us want you out of there? This was wrong, and I wanted to make sure that the Lieutenant Colonel knew that, or Lieutenant General knew that there was opposition to this thought. Anyway, during the first review, one of the things that I was directed to, and I thank my kupunas who helped direct me, was to a section on water resources. And in that section it states that in the event of a spill, via accident, an emergency, or any kind of thing like that, that there would be no way to contain the chemicals that would fall on the earth. And because of the permeability of the lava rock, it would immediately get down into the aquifers. Now, it's very important to understand this because that means they can poison our water. There are only two large aquifers on a big island, and one's part of Mauna Kea, and the other one is on Mauna Loa. And this high amplitude training is on both sides. Something to think about. Well, I thought that was enough to be able to stir that EIS that I was talking about. But instead they decided, well, they could just sneak around this a little bit, and they did another EA. And so I take the time to read these things, or I'm directed to certain things by the kupuna, or our ancestors, I should say. And when I read it, I looked at it and I go, you know, it's so similar to the first one. They're not addressing this problem about the water that I brought up, and yet the statement that I formulated that thought on was still in the new EA. And so I thought, well, you know, I have to keep this information directed at an environmental position because that's all that office was designed to have. So the whole thing about the Hawaiian Kingdom and all that kind of stuff, those are things we have to wait for to suggest. So anyway, what I did do is I did a little bit more research and had remembered that there is what is known as the palila bird. Now the palila bird is so endangered that it's received national status under the National Endangered Species Act. And it's so strict, the laws are so strict about keeping anything away from disturbing their critical habitat. Well, the flight path of this helicopter training, goes directly over the last remaining acreage of Paleta critical habitat. Now, I brought this to their attention because that again is an unmitigable circumstance, because now you're dealing with another federal law that would take precedence. And so the part that I wanted to do to bring out to you folks that we need to pay attention to is this sleight of hand thing that's going on, where they're now, instead of going to the EIS like it is mandated in the manuals, they've decided that they're going to work with the state to do a state environmental review. Now, I can't say I know enough about the state review process to be able to fully comment on it, but I can tell you this: I am very concerned about that process, because Earth Justice, who is an environmental group who's been fighting, they were once part of the Sierra Club, has currently pending 2 suits in the federal courts against the state of Hawaii for failure to continue to safeguard the critical habitat of the Paleta bird. So certainly I'm not going to depend on the state to help save this. They're already not saving it, that's why they're being sued. And certainly that would not be sufficient to take place of an EIS. Now, I'll continue to say this because the EIS is one of the few times that the public has a chance to review the materials of what they intend to do, to analyze it, and to be able to counter the move or supplement or however you choose to testify. But it gives you a chance to at least try to do something. Now, it brings very much concern to me that in the second article I read just last week, there was a comment made that while the problems are still being worked out with the buildup of Wakaloa, they were going to seek an immediate approval from the DLNR to get a special permit to have this helicopter training. Now, it's very important to understand what I'm trying to say. They're trying to get the director, Bill Ila, to unilaterally say it's all right for the military to get in and use conservation land or public domain for military purposes without the hearings. And so I'm saying this because we would like Bill Ila to know that the public knows that there's a process that must be followed, and that he cannot unilaterally just do that without finding other problems. And you know, it is not our purpose to cause problems, but especially we as Hawaiians who fight for a lot of these things, because a lot of people don't know about them, is that there are so few tools that can work with us. And the environmental process and the conservation district permits are one of the few last remaining vestiges where there may be justice. I say this too because, let's take for instance the telescope sa Mauna Kea. You know, for a long time now, actually for 10 years, Keck was trying to do an outrigger for their telescopes. And 10 years after court, after we won every battle, you know, it ended up that NASA pulled the funds away. Well, now we're dealing with the 30mm telescope, or the TMT. Now this thing is 3 times the size of a football field. 3 times the size. It's 18 feet high. Okay? And they want to put it on the northwest slope of Mauna Kea. Now, they too have been delayed and delayed and delayed because they're going through that process of a conditional conservation use district permit and its application. And it is a long and laborious task, but it's a very necessary task. And so because everyone else has to do it, certainly we cannot allow the military to come in gangbust and think they can strong arm us into succumbing to them having blanket treatment. And so I bring that to your attention. I bring this to your attention because the military buildup in Hawaii is it's enormous. Even to people who know, don't know how large this is. Now, I'll start off with a very simple for instance. How many people know where the Pacific Missile Range is? Okay, this is the Pacific Missile Range of the Pacific. This is the largest nuclear installation in the United States, in the Pacific. Okay, that's the one on Kauai, Barking Sands and all that. Have you ever seen it? Has anybody seen it? All I see when I go there is a couple sets of double fences and a couple warehouses and a guard shack, you know? And people are accustomed to seeing that and think that's it. Well, I want to tell you, they're putting over $250 million per year on the development of that. So where is it? And what I'm bringing this to your attention for is because it's not on ground, it's underground. It's actually, there's a huge military submarine base, nuclear submarine base.
It's in the sea, actually.
Between Niihau and Kauai. Okay? Now these things are very, very troubling to me because of this impunity that the military seems to have when it comes to taking in land. First of all, do you know about these things? Anybody ask you? Don't you believe you have the right to say if you want to be occupied by military? I believe everybody has the right to say that. And so we can't say that unless we know what's going on. So here's a couple of future things to look at that these kind of tactics that I'm describing would use too if we don't catch it and nip it in the bud. Okay? Like for instance, there's an intention to put a submarine base, a submarine group in Hilo Bay. Now, if you look at the area, there's no way they can do it. But all you got to do is know the National Guard and the Army Corps of Engineers, and voila, you have a base. And now they're not talking about a parking spot for an aircraft carrier in the event that it should be in the Hilo area. No, they're talking about an aircraft carrier group. That means several facilities, that means machine shops, that means all kinds of things. But it also means more and more military. Okay, be it whether it be civil or civilian or military. Now, it is also said in some of these newspaper articles that they want to be able to bring up Huakaloa training area, which is the area between Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa up in the mountains. They want to bring that up to speed so they can train up to 7,000 troops simultaneously. 7,000 troops simultaneously. I'm certainly not against military stuff in that sense. I just have this very bad memory, a very bad continuous memory that we are militarily occupied. And so this has the disgusting feeling that we're being screwed over again and it doesn't matter what we're doing. And I'm not approaching you as a protester or anything like that. I'm trying to approach you from the standpoint of what is the Hawaii you want to see? If we want to see other than that's coming, then we've got to describe it and make it clear that this is what we want. There's actually talk about a Air Force base out in Kau. Now, one would think, where would that be? Well, the Okahuka Ranch, which was bought up by a conservation group that is really a branch of the Interior Department, had bought that up and donated it to the military. And so I bring these kind of things up because these are sleights of hands that affect you personally. It would be nice if we had more time to talk, and it'd be nice if there was questions coming back so people can ask where you can find this or whatever, or explain to me their particular view of it, and perhaps I could change mine or help them expand theirs. Yeah. Again, the immediate subject on hand is the Hammett project. It is a high amplitude, mountainous training thing with helicopters, and they want to do it in the sacred areas of Mauna Kea. Now, I want you to think just a little scenario. Here you are, you've traveled all the way up into the mountains to be with God. Okay, you're out there, you found this beautiful area, it's so beautiful. You're in touch with nature, no noise, no nothing. You're out there and you're praying, and voila, here comes a Black Hawk helicopter. Just what you needed to see. Or try this scenario. Here we have an aviary full of endangered species. But we're going to fly a helicopter in there because we don't think we'll hit it. Birds fly. That habitat has to go up, and it has to be protected. And so it's not against military I'm talking about, it's against this program I'm talking about, and the shenanigans they're trying to pull with our state officials to bypass the public's interest. So again, that's what the subject is this time. I'm Hanalei Ferguson. If you need to contact me, I'm at 938-9994, or you can reach me on email at hankhawaiian@yahoo.com. And feel free to, and again, I'm down here twice a year. I'm here for the July 4th weekend because I cannot celebrate independence while I'm being chained. And I'm here for the commemoration of the illegal overthrow of the kingdom in January.
Do you have a Facebook?
No, I don't have a Facebook account. And by the way, for all you technos out there, look, gang, there's a lot of work to be done. And if you guys are technical savvy and you're interested in what I'm talking about, contact me, because we got to set up networks. We got to do it in such a way. We can't afford the gas anymore to have meetings. We got to find a way to do this. So I'm not technical smart anymore. I used to be. But so help is needed. Contact me, please. Okay? We'll work it out, Bob. Thank you.
I'm a radical, radical. I'm a true born Hawaiian. Yes, I'm a radical, radical. And I'm fighting for my home.
I am the roots radical. I am Hawaiian. Come and let y'all know I represent for my home. Spit straight from my dome. And you got to be crazy if you think that I'm alone, cause I'm not. Watch me educate through hip hop. When the reggae skank drop, shake the body non-stop. I wanna rock, I wanna roll, wanna hear them sweet music on the stereo. When we come in the dance, see me good daddy Rasta, Buffalo soldier, bringing on the danger. Watch yourself now, tell you what I'm working with my people in the pride you could never get. It's the infallible group, they'll be compatible. Trace these back to the roots, we getting radical. Roots radical, I am Hawaiian. Come and let you know.
American system, get I down. They desecrate our sacred ground. The Babylon system, get us down. Now where the hell do the righteous go? Cause I'm a radical, radical. I'm a royal Polynesian. Yes, I'm a radical, radical. And I'm fighting for my home.
In this radical time, we need some radical changes. Radical music blowing up on the stages. You wanna know the truth, listen, this a one with the red eye, they dynamite and the king down. They done the one, the OEV coming in from the heat. This one for the street, for the ones that we meet. Got your right little beat, enemies saying defeat.